Which job position is 100 overrated and overpaid, and explain why. Sales managers, after being successful for many years as a regional salesman, the next place for growth was a sales manager. My CEO is really great, so he let me manage a handful of guys that needed some help getting their numbers up. It was just babysitting a bunch of grown-ass men. The most ridiculous insecurities, and you had to navigate their feelings like a landmine. It really made me appreciate great sales managers, which are hard to find. But it became very clear that I had no desire to stroke the egos of 30-60-year-old men. I wouldn't say overpaid, but pay too much are nurses, cops, correctional officers, firefighters, and paramedics all range from 30 to 40 an hour. At least in Los Angeles. My friend just started working as a nurse in Hollywood and gets 50 an hour to start. That's his minimum. He doesn't have to deal with criminals or get shot or be in a fire. He told me he just reads charts and gives medication 3x a week for 12 hours a day, then gets 4 days off. I feel if anybody should get 50 an hour, it's the other professions. Almost anyone who sits at a desk, with the exception of creatives and people like engineers and programmers. The vast majority of people who sit in offices contribute nothing of tangible value to society. Insurance companies are a prime example of this. Thousands of people sitting at desks contributing nothing to the system are adding to the cost of the end product. Healthcare would be a fraction of the cost without all the dead weight and administrative bloat of these people. I would say a lot of contractors for the government. I am saying this as one of them. Contractor companies don't care about the employee, they just want to fill a spot so that the government pays them. I've had multiple interviews for 6-figure jobs, where the interview questions were entry level for my network engineer job. They would ask if I knew about a certain technology without divulging, and I would say I have experience with that and that's it. Managers, especially upper management, a good manager can make a huge difference, especially in companies struggling to operate smoothly. But it is also the case that many companies basically run on autopilot and managers do nothing. Worse yet, there are managers who harm the efficiency and workflow of their employees. Off of my own experience, I've seen far more incompetent managers than I've seen good ones. It's not even a 50-50 split. Everything related to banking and trading besides logistics, for that one actually has merit. Amounts of money from place to place, and somehow they manage to get paid for this job of pouring from empty and into hollow, and get paid more than people who actually create things. In many cases, literally the stupidest person I know who's capable of functioning in society just barely is quite an effective car salesman, and honestly I'm just impressed. It's how he convinces these people to buy cars. He believes just about every conspiracy theory out there, including the Earth being flat, and continues to get kicked out of apartments for stockpiling weapons in preparation for a zombie apocalypse. There were mass redundancies at my workplace once. The boss took a shining to one woman and instead of letting her go, gave her the position of entertainment and moral-boosting party planner. She just used to sit on her ass all day playing with her phone or chatting with people. Her job was to decorate people's desks on their birthdays and make distracting games for everyone to play while working. Not all of them, but there are tons of project managers out there that are absolutely useless at best and actively harmful to companies' bottom lines at worst. I work as a PM, more of a construction manager to be honest, and it's terrifying when I have to interact with a PM from a client. They are always so quick to try to steal management duties from me and muck with the scope and timeline. Management. I've worked at a few companies where there's more management than workers. You had to make it to the VP level to talk to the president. Most of these people know nothing about IT, but still make major decisions. It's also entertaining the number of managers I've had who don't know what a database is, but will tell me how to manage it if how long tasks should take. Real estate agents. They don't actually do anything that a semi-intelligent lay person couldn't figure out for themselves. I sold a property without an agent. It's actually pretty straightforward. Not only are they grossly overpaid for what they do, they're often lazy and or incompetent and make mistakes which cost others but never themselves a lot of money. Any of my previous supervisors, Seriously, I do all the work. I update and share with stakeholders. I present at conferences and represent our team on panels. You check in to get weekly updates and make sure I stay on track, despite my never missing a deadline before or during your tenure. Yet you make trouble what I do. CQV engineer. I get paid $115K. Why to learn a simple computer program, use it correctly, think about a 3D space, communicate with other teams, and then read graphs and write down results. It's all stuff that someone could have taught me on my first day if I knew only what I knew out of college with a STEM degree. ND, specifically general practitioners. About 70 of them couldn't resolve a health issue without a flow chart. If you tell them symptoms that don't fit the flow chart, then they will say you are lying. These 70 should give half their salaries to nurses and the other 30 of general practitioners. Social media influencers. Hands down. We're basically paying people to document their brunch choices and strike a pose with a detox tea. It's like the world's most glamorous job that doesn't involve much actual work. I mean, do we really need a personal brand for avocado toast endorsements? Social media influencers. Hands down. We're essentially paying people to turn their lives into a highlight reel. It's like the modern day equivalent of getting paid for a really curated vacation slideshow. Meanwhile, the rest of us are stuck in the daily grind, questioning our life choices. I'd say professional pet influencers. Like, really? Your cat gets more brand deals than I do. It's the job where you realize your career took a wrong turn somewhere when Fluffy has a higher social media following than you. Who knew pets could be such marketing moguls? Personal social media stenographer. We're talking about folks hired to document every coffee sip, gym session, and deep life revelation for influencers. It's like paying someone to play detective in the thrilling case of what did I have for breakfast 5 days ago. Yes, I get it, they have to be safe, but if you work at any refineries you get what I mean when I say guys in safety have to constantly justify their jobs like holy shit they get paid to make shit up. Male porn star. I don't know how it is in mainstream porn nowadays, but when I did it 15 years ago the work was not always as fun as you'd imagine, but it was still overpaid because I would have definitely done it for free. Influencers. They are attractive and have media control by sponsors that literally plan what they say and do to maximize profits. Was called actors 20 years ago and will be future politicians and models until we die. Agile coaches. In my experience across a few firms, they have mostly tried to cram down a lot of processes to police the teams, which just shifted focus from the product to just following Agile. Was quite demotivating. Any executive level position, oftentimes they're so detached from the actual work being done. They have no idea how their own companies actually function and their salaries benefits are way more than they deserve. I know someone who works in pharmacy and all they do is call geriatric people and remind them to take their meds. That's what they do all day and clock in almost 6 figures. AI is taking over their job for sure. College administrators. I know a couple that make $150,000 a year, and they just organize college kid groups. 3rd grade teachers work harder than these administrators and get paid garbage in comparison. Every single analyst job in the funds management space. Past performance is no indication of future success. Translation. It's all a fucking gamble. Your guess is as good as my overpaid one. Security guard. They hang out. People watch, and when something shady happens they don't get involved. They call the police. They're doing exactly what everyone else is doing except they're getting paid. Most jobs in the financial sector, specifically those whose entire purpose is to make money with money. Point to any aspect of real estate, except maybe legal. Career politicians, particularly those who have no idea how their constituents live or what they need, or those who pass laws with exemptions for themselves. Kind of a niche job, but transit bus supervisors. They sit in their company SUVs eating donuts and vaping for a few hours and then head home. Project managers. Any job title that contains the term growth or delivery. All my downvotes will come from people with these job titles. The professional puddle jumper. For those who find joy in raining on parades, without realizing the irony of their own dampened spirits. Everyone in tech. Tons of startups with shit product, lousy marketing, burning through money and destroying shareholder value. If you are getting paid more than you deserve to do a job, then I'm not sure how overrated it can be. Aren't we all looking for that? CIOs, unless you're a true tech company, otherwise, you're just overpaid. Escalation for finances, Excel problems. Every athlete paid ridiculously to play stupid games. Surely, that money could be going towards something else. Anything to do with social media. I make more as a corporate strategist than most nurses I know. Absurd. Most CEOs of large companies, the value they create is nowhere near deserving of the salaries they demand. Private psychologists, too many of them are charging $200 now, and I've even heard of upwards of $300. CEO. 'Cause they just sit in their fancy offices, do nothing, and get paid like they won the lottery. SMH. Many C-level jobs are picked mostly on your network and not on your skill set, so go out and network. Computer engineers that spend their entire day on Reddit and really work a few hours a week. Investment advisor FR. They have a degree but lose to the market performance 95 of the time. Consultants. They cost a lot more than what they value add, usually patchwork as well. Public policy makes twice as much as frontline workers, often have no experience. College football coach. In more than one state, it's the highest salary in the state. Streamers and social media influencers. Streamers are a bad toxic influence.